Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Dear brothers and sisters, As-Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Hold on, I'm muted on Blog Talk. Alhamdulillah, let's do it again. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Dear brothers and sisters, As-Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, Sister Fonda, how you doing?
Alhamdulillah. Did I press one yet?
No. What's your number? Well, don't say it. Press one and then I'll know it.
Am I in? I just pressed one.
Hold on. It's not unusual to have these issues here. Oh, on your side, I need you. You have to call the 626 number that I just text.
Right.
Call that number.
Okay, I'll call it back. I just called it, but I called again, and then what do I do?
When your number, when it tells you are now on Blog Talk, and then you push 1.
Okay. Instead, it's currently full.
Yeah, that does happen sometimes. Hold on. Let's see. Try another number.
Okay.
Try this one. 319-527-6176.
Okay. Now press 1. Oh.
Now press 1.
Okay.
Okay. Now the next task is for us to avoid feedback. I got you. Now you need to. So now you're live. Let's go.
Can I get out of this?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. Take that out.
Okay.
And I'll take mine out. Oh, you cut yourself off the phone. Okay, so don't hang the phone up. Once you get it, and that's it. So especially if you use AirPods, or what, no problem if you don't. But usually, sometimes at the distance, you'll have a problem with the speaker. But let's deal with that when we get there. Just which one?
Hit 1, right?
Okay, now push 1.
Okay.
And set it and forget it. Just
get it.
There you go.
Right. Should I turn it off?
Now we're cooking. Okay. All right. You're good. Now make sure you turn me off on any speakers inside of your room, your space where you are. You mute it.
Oh, like I just.
Okay. No. You just muted the screen. Forget about the screen. Don't do anything on the screen.
I know what you mean. I'm muting this. I'm muting this phone.
So that now you're muted on the phone. Take that speaker. So the iPhone speaker, take that out.
Okay.
Now take the mute off. Take the mute off.
Okay. Got it.
All right. So let's see what happens now.
Okay.
So I am still getting feedback from your phone.
You want me to put the phone in another room? I mean, on the side.
I don't know if that'll help. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Let me bring Oliver into this this fun we're having right here. As-Salaam, man.
How you doing, brother?
Too early in the morning here.
Oh,
hey, look, you also got to call in onto the Blog Talk, man. You got to call the other number. Fonda said she couldn't get in because it was full.
Oh, the Blog Talk?
You have to call the alternative number, the 319-527-6176.
Okay, 319. What now?
319-527 6176.
Okay, just call that number. Okay.
Yeah, but we still got speaker issues.
Oh, you did?
The only way that I've known to cover it is any speaker that you have. Fonda, do you have earphones?
Yeah.
Well, you don't sound too confident about it.
I have these earphones.
I know you all stylish and all that, so it messes up the optics.
No. Honestly, I can't get them to work. That's the reality.
Okay. All right. You know what we
is it better? So Laudine
okay,
was
saying,
saying,
I got you, Oliver. Push one.
Push one on my phone. Okay.
Is it better now?
It's better.
Yeah, I got you fine. Yeah. Now, Oliver, let me see what's going on with your Oliver. Do you have any other speaker coming through making sound? Oh, the doctor's in the house. All right.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
All right, Oliver. So where's the sound? Where's my sound coming to you, Oliver? Where are you
coming out of my desktop speaker.
Okay, you got to take that speaker out because it gives feedback.
It does. Okay. All right. So I can take it out, right?
Just mute it. You just mute it.
Okay.
It's a lot.
So when you say speaker, you're not talking about the mic, just the speaker, right? Okay, hold
on. You're a little ways away. I think mashallah, I think that in order to move on with the time and also still get the benefit of it,
now,
Blog Talk. My phone. You all, let me recommend you Blog Talk folks. Go ahead and go to Fahim Shoaib Facebook. Go to my Facebook page. Most of you have Facebook. Go to Facebook. Also go to YouTube. Go to Fahim Shoaib YouTube, Fahim Shoaib Facebook. I think for the sake of time, that's the only way we're going to overcome these sound problems right now. So go over to Facebook. Put in my name. It should be broadcasting live now. And also go to YouTube, Fahim Shoaib, and it should be broadcasting live. Let me do that. So we're going to go ahead and hang up here and do it all on Facebook, YouTube, StreamYard. Not a problem. That's what it is. So Blog Talk, we're going to take you out. So Fonda, take your phone. I'll just mute you there. Okay. And we're all live here. Now, what I need to go ahead, talk to me, Fonda, Oliver, either one of you.
As-Salaam alaikum.
Unmute. Oliver, talk to me. Can't hear me? Neither of you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, Oliver, can you hear me? Okay, Oliver, get your sound up. Oliver. I don't know how to. No, you can't hear me here.
Can you text me, Salaam?
Okay, Oliver, what you got? Oliver, turn your. Oh, I guess I gotta do it this way. MashaAllah. Let's see.
So can you hear me my phone too?
I don't need your phone. You should be able, whoever's on there, we didn't kill the Blog Talk, but
okay.
That's not what we're depending on for the sound.
Okay.
Blog can still hear. So, what you got, Oliver?
Yeah, I'm trying to log in.
All right, I hear you. Do you find it? Do you hear him?
I hear him. Yes.
All right, good. So
go back to the original thing.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Don't touch nothing.
I won't. Okay. All right. Okay. I won't.
We'll go like this. Alhamdulillah. I mean, as all Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You know, there's all kind of lessons in this, and this is the reality where, you know, quote unquote, this technology, right? You got this technology, and you know, you match this piece with that piece. You know, no doubt it could be my own setup. You know, it's just like requiring more from the guests, because I'm not in the habit of actually having guests. But I'm gonna tighten that up. It's all good. You know, we're that. Well, at least I'm the baby boomer. I don't know, but Fonda, you might not be a baby boomer. You're a baby boomer.
I'm serious.
Right on the cusp. You're right on the cusp, right?
1955.
Oh, Takbir, that's good. Good. You handling it well. All right.
I like
All right. What are we here for? Alhamdulillah. I'm really happy. I'm happy to see all of you. Just it's been so long. I mean, between COVID and just life itself. You know, we haven't seen each other for quite a while. We have a lot to cover. A part of what I really appreciate about this, you know, just as an opportunity, it's an excuse to do something that needs to be done all over this country.
Yes.
And that is there's a lot that people don't know about. Well, Oakland, and I'm not going to be talking about Oakland right now. There's some things people do know, but I think also, speaking from the West Coast, that, you know, there are a lot of people that don't really know about Al-Islam in North Carolina. I say in California. You know, you got the Atlanta piece. You know, Atlanta kind of like, you know, sucks up a lot of the southern oxygen when it comes to Al-Islam, you know. And my brother, the doctor, who's back there, we met in Mount Vernon. Was Mount Vernon? Was that where you were?
Yes, sir.
Bronx.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Who's is it Waleed that's there now? Abdul Waleed, right?
That was in the Bronx. Waleed is going. He's going. May Allah bless him.
Yeah, inna lillahi inna ilayhi rajiun. But the young man is in Mount Vernon right now. And that's a problem. It's been so long. And Musa. He's in Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just so much history. So that's a lot of what I want to cover today. But why don't we go ahead and start out with you guys giving us an update. Fonda, I know that you are co-chair of the fundraising activity for raising funds for the As-Salaam Islamic Center in Raleigh, North Carolina, and the funds are to build a masjid. What are we doing? Tell us a little more details about it.
Yes, we're trying to build a masjid from the ground up in Southeast Raleigh. And the goal for the weekend of September 16th, 17th, and 18th is to raise $100,000 so that we will, at that point, have at least or close to $600,000. The whole project, Imam Oliver will talk more about the whole project in its costs, but it's probably going to cost us at least $800,000. So we're more than halfway there, but it's so the emphasis will be on that weekend in trying to raise money, trying to connect with other believers across the country. And not only it's always twofold. It's going to be to raise money, bam, but it's also to connect and become unified and just, love on each other. Yeah.
Okay. Imam, tell us about the project itself.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Imam Shuaib, for allowing us to come on your show. And it's always a pleasure to be in your presence and listen to your teachings and so forth. But yes, the project, we're at the permitting stage. We have plans. The history, we have come a long way. The site has been approved. The city has definitely approved us building on this particular site, and we just at the point of fulfilling some of the conditions in order to put the type of facility that we're going to put on that site. And so that's where we are. We're working through. When you have a building or construction project, there's always setbacks. There's always issues that come up that's unexpected, and sometimes it means you have to change some of the people involved in that project because they're not fulfilling their part of the deal. And so, we are having all of these kinds of challenges, and but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the best planner. We may have a plan, but Allah has He has also a plan, and it's particularly in timing. We wanted to be up and in this building long before now, but issues came up, and we are addressing these issues as we speak. And so we look forward to that day when we can put the shovel in the ground and say, welcome everybody to this wonderful structure that Allah, on this path that Allah has put us on. The building itself is going to be, initially we start out with a building that was going to be about 9,500 square feet. We had to kind of shrink it down some to meet some of the issues of having enough space and for parking and so forth. So we got it back down to about 6,500 square feet. The plans, as I said, we are addressing some issues in the plans, and we have a building committee. We have several brothers on our building committee who are contractors and engineers themselves. And I got a wonderful call this morning that they have untied a knot that's going to make this project move forward. And I'll be making more comments to the community about that this weekend, inshallah. So we might get back on schedule. We may be a little behind, but things are continually to move forward, and we've learned so much. Allah's plans is the best plans, and sometimes He will hold things back from you for a while so that you can really be prepared for the bigger plan. And so we've gained knowledge, we've gained experience, and not only that, but we have grown as a community of community builders. The masjid is just the anchor, but there's other issues. Other institutions and structures that have to complete that whole community. And the masjids, they build masjids every day, but communities are not being built every day. And so we've learned so much. We've seen so much richness come. Like you're looking at Sister Fonda and her husband along this path to this point. We picked them up, or we begged them to come and join us, and they brought so much energy, so much northern spirit to this.
A northeastern storm come through, right? Yeah,
talking about synergy.
Yeah.
Don't say that the North can't merge with the South.
That's right.
They have come down here and they have blended in, and they brought so much experience and spirit. Yeah. And we hugged you too, Imam Shoaib.
Alhamdulillah. That's
many of our fundraisers, you were a part, and I never forget you bought this picture that Sheikh Kenneth Muhammad drew.
I got it,
and we named it the Unfinished Mosque.
Allahu Akbar.
We had a real good conversation. That picture, it was a picture that I was on a trip with him to Africa, and we came across this big plain, and we saw this beautiful masjid. But as we got closer, it was unfinished. It was the tribal leader told 1,000 people, but we walked in and it was empty because the contractor, when the sheikh who put up the money for it died, this Italian contractor skipped town. He didn't finish it. So we saw this as a symbol, not only of an unfinished structure, but unfinished communities of people. And as we look around America, and especially as you mentioned earlier, many of us who were students of Imam W. Muhammad, many of our communities are still unfinished. Unfinished in the sense of we have to grow ourselves, grow to really fulfill the vision that he envisioned for us. And that means we have to build capacity, we have to build up capital, we have to develop leaders and people in order to really fulfill that great vision. It's not just a masjid, but it's a whole community. So,
Alhamdulillah. So we're gonna go more and more into that. That's exactly what we want to do. Follow up on more of that. I want to ask Fonda to give us the program details. Give us some program details for the fundraiser. And then we're also going to continue this journey down, informing people about the history, because I want to be reminded about the New York piece, the northeastern aspect of it. But go ahead, and even you all's journey, how y'all get from there to there, and all that. Why? Let's take any piece of that you want to take, but cap it with the program activities.
Alhamdulillah. Well, first of all, again, Imam Shuaib, whew, you're something else. I saw this name Shuaib, this last name Shuaib at the Islamic Learning Institute. And I said, Yolanda, are you related to Imam Shuaib? She said, yes, that's my husband. I said, oh, okay, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
I thought because I forgot your wife's name was Yolanda, and I thought maybe it was your daughter, but whatever, alhamdulillah, she's got that energy, so we made that connection.
Yeah. And you got that energy too, for sure.
Alhamdulillah. But in terms of how Salahuddin and I made it from New York to Raleigh, North Carolina, the bottom line is Imam Oliver bribed us. Just kidding. Joke. I'm a joke. Just joking. But honestly, we have been visiting with our folks, Imam Wahid and Khadija, for years, 12, 15 years. And we said, whenever we retire, we're going to move down to North Carolina. But we really were thinking Durham, honestly, Durham, North Carolina. And we saw 1,001 houses, being hyperbolic, but we saw a lot of houses. And we finally saw this house in Raleigh. And we said, this is the one. So we got here and we brought Project Team with us because Salahuddin had birthed that particular concept, Project Team, TEAM, to establish a masjid. He birthed it in New York, and we were able to actually establish a masjid from the ground up, so to speak, at least a portion of it. And so we said, hey, let's bring it to Raleigh, North Carolina. And that's what we did. And that's what we're doing this really important weekend, the weekend of September 16th, 17th, and 18th. It's a Project Team fundraiser. It has become an annual, well, before COVID, it was an annual fundraiser. That particular weekend is going to start out with a BAM. We have Imam Abdur Rahman from Atlanta. He's going to hit us up real hard with a Juma. Boom, boom. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ease into the night, 7 to 9 o'clock. We got, oh my goodness, we got Haja Anisa Dewan. She's going to hit us up with honoring the legacy of Imam Wardi Muhammad Rahimahullah. Oh my goodness, can you imagine that? Just one night. Oh wow, I don't even have to talk anymore. There's the flyer right there.
Well, just read it off.
Okay. Yeah, so now we're moving to Saturday, and a Saturday morning at 11 o'clock, from 11 to 2, we're going to have a morning of healing. And that's going to be with Coach Key. Her name is Kiana Shears Akil. And she's going to hit us up with some of her workshops. We'll also have a chat with Anisa and Imam Abdur Rahman. That's the morning set. And then we move into Saturday night from 6 to 10. That's where we have our banquet, and we have all types of stuff going on. Bottom line is we're trying to raise $100,000, but we have Preacher Moss. He's going to do his thing, We have Native Dean. They're going to do their thing. Anissa's going to hit us up with some inspirational words. And then, of course, we do have some local talent as well. And the bottom line, again, is to raise the money. We're going to end the weekend with a beautiful talim with both Sister Anisa and Imam Abdur Rahman. And we're going to have talim from 12 to 3 o'clock. Now, both of those sets, the Saturday morning, we're offering continental breakfast, and talim, we're offering brunch. For all of those activities, the Friday night, 7 to 9, the Saturday morning, 11 to 2, and the talim, 12 to 3, people can come and just have a good time. but we are humbly asking $25 per family. If you have a family of 50 and all you can afford is $25, that's what we expect. If you have a family of 2 and you can't afford the $25, alhamdulillah. But we're asking for donations for those outside activities. But the big one, the fundraiser, where we're trying to raise $100,000, of course, that's $50 per ticket. We do have some tables of 8 available. So go on and get your table of 8 and save $25 by paying $375 for a table of 8. I think I covered everything for the weekend in terms of details. Oh, no. There's one very important. If you're traveling from Oakland, California, hint, you want to stay at the Hyatt House in Briar Creek. That's Raleigh, North Carolina, but it's specifically Briar Creek. And if I can, Imam, I can give those numbers if people want to stay at that hotel, if this is a good time to do it. If not.
Okay. What I'll do, I'll go ahead and I'll type what you have here in the chat.
Okay.
If there's another way that you can send it to me, either by text or email, I'll send it out another way. But for right now, those people who are online, and you have that savvy, so you see the QR code there in the picture. You can just take your camera, put your camera right up there, and if you know how to use it, then you know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, then it doesn't matter. If you know how to use it, take your QR app on your phone, just take a snap of that QR code there, and you can make your donations. Now. I'm interested in, and maybe we have to stay with the analog way of doing it. If I wanted to make a contribution right now to this project, what number, what address, what means do I use in order to do that?
Well, if you wanted to make one right this second, you can make it. We have As-Salaam Islamic Center does have a PayPal account that you to, and you could just go to PayPal and type in the name As-Salaam Islamic Center. I don't have the actual numbers, but it will come up as As-Salaam Islamic Center. The actual address, I can put that in the chat, or I can tell you in a couple minutes to the PO box where you can send a paper check for someone who wants that. What else? Oh, you can go, you know what the easiest way for people who are savvy enough to do it? You can go right to Eventbrite and you can just plug in the name As-Salaam Islamic Center or Project Team, either one, and it'll take you right to the site. And you can make a donation that way because there's a little
actually, and I put on the Facebook and YouTube program notes or whatever they call it on those platforms. That link is actually what's in there. The Eventbrite link is actually there. If you go to Facebook and YouTube, right now you should be able to see it to the extent that you can see the YouTube and Facebook, and you can make your donations through there. I want to go also a little more into the historical dimension, Brother Oliver.
Yes.
I know you tell me the family Muhammad Ali story, brother.
The family Muhammad Ali story.
Yeah, your family with Sister Margaret. We have to say something about Sister Margaret and Sheikh Kenneth. Let's cover that part.
Okay, so we'll kind of give you just a brief thumbnail sketch of the history. That's the scope of it and what has occurred. They basically came to North Carolina. Imam Kenneth did, Minister Kenneth at that time, of course. He came in the 50s, in the early 50s, under the direction of his teacher, Minister Isaiah Kareem, as you probably know, from the great city of Baltimore. He was a student of his. And there's also pictures of Imam Kenneth at Morgan State with Malcolm. He was kind of carrying Malcolm around on Morgan State. He was a picture of him standing beside Malcolm in Morgan State in their student union. But he comes down here, and the seeds of Islam were planted. And he came as one of the planters. I call him the masjid planter, because not only did he plant a masjid in Durham, but he was instrumental in getting masajid or temples at that time practically in half of the state of North Carolina. Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Kinston, Fayetteville, Wilmington, many other places, about 13 different cities. But in Durham and Raleigh is where he focused his work. And he was staying in Raleigh, but he was going to Durham weekly to nurture that community. The reason is because during those times in the 60s, Durham was a very conscious city. It had what's called the Black Wall Street. But the people in Raleigh, because this is the capital of the state, they weren't as open to the message that he was bringing. But the African-American community in Durham were very awake. There was a movie that was made in Durham, and he's mentioned. There's a book called The Best of Enemies.
Yeah.
He's mentioned in that book, and he was a part of that movie, and it was filmed. It's about Durham, and that's the civil rights struggle in Durham. And in that book, they didn't mention it in the movie, but they talk about the Muslims.
I just want to add that is a great movie for people to get that with Taraji P. Henson, and
exactly.
really touching movie. Go ahead, Imam.
There's a place in the book where they talks about Kenneth, and there was a big situation going on in Durham at that time, where the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan and this sister named Ann, can't remember her last name, but Ann was her popular name. They met, and the community was in an uproar about it. They had to make some decisions about the school system, about integration, and all those things. And Ann was a very outspoken person for the Black people in Durham. And so the Klansmen didn't want this meeting to take place. And so the meeting had to take place because the people had to make a decision. So in the book, the Klansmen were about to march on the meeting. And in the book, it mentions, but they couldn't make it downtown because the Nation of Islam was blocking their entrance. And they described them as being dressed in tams and white shirts and black pants. And so the only one that could have organized the Nation of Islam at that time was Kenneth Muhammad. And so he was very outspoken. And during that decision, there was a very important point. During that time, the community didn't want to go along with the meeting because Kenneth had a big meeting. And he said this meeting was just a facade. It's an entrapment to get the Black people in Durham to really put themselves in a position that they couldn't achieve what they were trying to achieve. So I thought that was a very important piece that a lot of people don't know about. The other highlight for Kenneth was when Malcolm came to Durham. All of the major universities didn't want him to come. So he went to in Chapel Hill, Durham, and Raleigh. None of them wanted Malcolm to speak. And so he had to end up having a meeting at the temple that was over top of a cab stand. It was a little small auditorium that probably seated about 150 people. Malcolm spoke there, and that's in the history books, and you can see pictures of that. And most of the people that came were students from Duke, Caucasian students. They heard Malcolm. So what Kenneth did in this area was he really planted the seeds for many communities. He was a pusher. He was a hard worker, and he brought together people from Durham and Raleigh and Fayetteville. Durham was like the hub. People from all over the state. Out of that time, from the 60s to the 70s, we actually developed a full-time school from first to the second grade. This was in the 70s. So as he moved about, he remodeled. We moved from the cab stand onto Chapel Hill Street, where we bought property there, and that's when the community really began to bloom. And I always picture this as a flower, a rose. It started off with a seed, and then it had the thorns, and then it bloomed. And we went through the thorny times, and then we have a bloom. So he was able to build a real vibrant community. And then he moved to Raleigh, in
Let
the
me stop
70s.
you. Let me stop you there and jump on that and segue to the rose, since you used the
Okay.
rose.
Okay.
Well, then we got to talk about rose then,
Rose, that's
because
right.
behind every great man is a
Yeah,
great
there's a woman.
woman.
There's a
So
woman.
give us a
Right.
little bit about that, and then we're
Right.
gonna come.
Sister
Then we're gonna
Margaret.
come to
Sister
Fonda
Margaret
and get a
said
little bit of history from her. All right.
right, right. Behind every good man, there's a rose. There's a rose garden sometimes. So with Sister Margaret, she was like the Clara Muhammad to him. She was an educator. She had her own little private school, and she was a very outspoken woman, strong woman, very vibrant. She was the captain at that time. And to make fast forward, well, the Muhammad Ali piece comes in the 60s, right after Ali had lost his crown, and he knew Kenneth, and so he wanted to come down when he wasn't fighting, and he just wanted to spend some time. He spent a whole week living in their house, and he would get up in the morning and jog around the city or around town, and there's this picture that I laugh about. There's a picture of Rhonda serving Ali something. I don't know what it is, breakfast or something, or some bean pie, I guess. And he's looking up at her, and she's smiling at him. And I tell people all the time, I say, see, people say he was the greatest of all time, but he's smiling at her. But who got her? I got her. I'm the greatest of all time. But yeah, so that's a story but in Raleigh, he had some wonderful brothers over here in Raleigh too that were very helpful. One of his top stalwart students was Imam Saifuddin. Matter of fact, the masjid was once named after him. He was a stalwart student. He was a mentor of mine as well. I was in school over here at St. Augustine University, so I would go to the masjid on Martin Street in Raleigh, and the Imam or Minister Saifuddin would be there, and so that was in the early 70s. And after him, a number of other brothers were in Raleigh who became imams, particularly the one who's still around today. That's Imam Kamal Abdel Rafi. He's a very vibrant person and did a great work to keep the community moving forward. And so that brings us to where we are. We've been blessed because of the foundation that Kenneth set, and because of the work that he and Sister Margaret did. We've been blessed to have Imam here in Raleigh for at least 3 or 4 times. And Imam, before he died, he vowed he would come on Father's Day, and he promised that he would come back every Father's Day. Even the year he died, he was here that Father's Day, and he was looking forward to coming back next year. And so we decided that we're going to eventually have that day in memory, and we're going to call it Adam's Day, because every time he came, that's when he talked about Father Adam. And so we want to take that and institutionalize it into Islamize it, if you will, and make it a regular day out of the year.
Let's get Fonda into this conversation. Fonda, you have a history, and you are the great woman in our metaphor here behind Imam Dr. Salahuddin. So give us a little bit of you all's New York history and movements for as far as Al-Islam is concerned.
Okay. Before I get started, I just want to make a little correction, a little pushback. I'm not behind him. I'm adjacent to him.
I got you. Good. Yeah, you don't want me to open up my roster now on Khalifa and all the rest of that now. So I'm gonna let you have that, but keep pushing.
I love to stand behind Salahuddin in real life.
All right.
But alhamdulillah, yes, we started in New York, upstate New York, the Newburgh area back in 1985. He was asked by Imam Umar, Warthdin Umar, to take over, because Umar was the imam at that time. Salahuddin was asked, the community said yes, and the rest is history, so to speak. We started out, we were kind of like nomads, didn't really have a building. So we were kind of visiting in homes. We had Jumas in my house. We had Jumas in other believers' houses. We rented out storefronts. We went through some of the thorn-like situations that Imam Oliver mentioned, a lot of it actually. And then one day, one of the believers, Sister Melody and her husband, they found a building in Newburgh, and it was a warehouse. It was just a simple warehouse, and I couldn't see the vision. I was like, we moving here? Okay. So like a good soldier, I just heard and I obeyed. And I said, okay, they have the vision. I couldn't see it. It was run down. It had rats in it. It was just really terrible, totally dilapidated. But alhamdulillah, we had some good people amongst us and they built it up. They just made it look really beautiful. 5 years in, we were able to get some kind of creative funding where we didn't have to worry about riba and anything like that. And then that's when we started building from the ground up in terms of a section next to that already existing building. And we've always gone by faith. I have to say, by faith, and this is not a put down to our style of leadership, but we've gone by faith and not a lot of knowledge, like building knowledge or just knowledge that's right there. You know, some people just know how to build a building and bam, they can just do it. The Kamal of the world, they just have that knowledge, they can do it. The engineer in New York, they knew how to do it, but we just kind of went by faith, and Allah had our back. We tied our camel and trusted in Allah, and we build from the ground up. We mentioned earlier about Project Team. We were in New York for 30 years. Salahuddin was the imam there for 30 years. I was right beside him, and from time to time I was behind him. And when I was behind him, I was pushing him. When I was beside him, I was like holding him, or whatever. We were together for 30 years. And we really, Allah is merciful. I'm telling you, we really, we along with the many, many believers, we built unity and connections. It was so powerful how we were connected to the city of Newburgh, the political base, just the community at large. Came by our side, had our backs, even during some continuously trying times. It was, you've all heard about, I'm sure your listeners have heard about the Newburgh sting, where Salahuddin was accused of being the imam who supported a lot of stuff. Well, the community in Newburgh, the interfaith community, the politicians, and the Muslims, of course, they had his back, and so all that stuff was expunged, and none of the accusations stuck. And then so that was that. And then so I'm from 85. Right now I'm about at 2010. And alhamdulillah, he was able to get his doctorate. And 2013, we said goodbye to the community. We sadly said goodbye to the community. We retired from our jobs. Myself, New York State Education Department teacher for 27 years, didn't quite make 30 years because I was behind my husband. I was following my husband to North Carolina. So I said, it's okay. You know what? I'll take the penalty. So I didn't quite do the 30 years, but I had the age. Didn't have the 30 years. It took a 3-year cut, whatever that means in terms of money. And we moved down to North Carolina. Imam Oliver and his wife took us out to dinner and said, yo, come with us. Don't worry about Durham. And we came.
That's good. So, there's something that that comes to mind in listening to both of your stories, and our stories are the same. But going back to the analogy of the rose, which absolutely fits us. When I look at the lineup, go back, look at that history where we have, Sheikh Kenneth, rahimahullah, of course, your Muhammad Ali, El Haj Malik Shabazz / Malcolm X, and of course, Elijah Muhammad and Imam, one of the name Muhammad. And then we look at this lineup that's here, You have Anisa, you have Imam Rashad, Abdul Rahman, and the other young lady, I don't know her name, but there's stars all over the world. And another reason the screen's so small, I can't read the name. Anyway, no, her name is not right there for me to get. What is her name again?
Her name is Kiana Shears Akil.
Oh, Kiana. Okay, well, I'm not going to forget that because my niece's name is Kiana, so I got you. So if I don't remember anything else, it's Sister Kiana. All right, yes. And she must be raw. She must be good. She must be able to do whatever it is that she do, because she's up there in Stephen A. Smith's language. These other folks up there, they ain't no scrubs, right? They ain't no scrubs at all, right?
Right.
So you got Preacher Moss, and he's creeping in to pretend he's young like the youngsters. It's all good. I shout out to Preacher Moss, the Muslim comedian, alhamdulillah. And then Native Dean. In fact, Imam Wahid had me as a guest at one of the Duke Ramadan sessions. And I see one of the he's Dr. Salaam now, right? One of the artists, founding artists, no doubt, of Native Dean, and that richness. So my point here is that we do see the evolution and the graduation and the progression of the very special, unique autonomy that we have and that we are in this whole history, right? And when you think about the struggles, right? The struggles of a Kenneth Muhammad, what was his ex? I know it wasn't Muhammad coming in.
No, it was just X.
It was just okay. So that makes him number one, because the numbers go on the basis of who had that name before.
That's right.
So there's Kenneth X in the South with Black Muslimism, if you will, in the 50s. Come on now. It's like that ain't no joke right there, right? And then you have those like myself who come through, because even in during quote unquote Malcolm's time in the later years of the Nation of Islam, we have a brother here who's in the wheelchair, Khalid Wajid, who was shot by the police, and then another one when in LA when the police stormed there, another brother was killed, and another brother was quote unquote put in a wheelchair in consequence of that kind of activity. And I'm saying when you think about the 50s, the 60s in terms of the civil rights struggle and the dichotomy of quote unquote Black Muslims and the so-called nonviolent, and that was game in the name. But the idea is that I have to admit, and I believe we all have to admit, that we didn't have to face the level, the magnitude, the order of struggle of the generation whose shoulders I'm talking about Fahim Shoaib, Imam Oliver, and Fonda, Dr. Salahuddin, we stand on the shoulders of those who put in that kind of work when, you know what I'm saying, it's like when stuff was raw, much more raw than it is now. And we have to admit, and I pray that the young people coming up behind us now, the ones who are on stage, literally and figuratively, right now, and with this upcoming program, I believe, and I know they do, as Imam in the broadcast we played talks about gratitude. If you don't show gratitude to people, then it's a sign that you have no faith. Right. And so I know these young people that you have on the program are people of gratitude and of faith. And I know they have gratitude for that generation that came before them, as we have gratitude for the generation that came before us. The very theme is honoring our past and planning today for our future. Right. It's like, this is really, really going on. And these folks, many people have not heard these young people. I'm speaking from the speaking perspective, Anissa and Rashad Abdurrahman. I haven't had the honor of hearing Kiana. I don't know if Kiana, if her focus is, what is her focus? Is her focus the knowledge, the information, or is she a cultural artist of some type? Give me some feedback on Kiana.
So yes, Coach, she's a life coach. And her focus is on the knowledge and understanding. She really wants to focus on African American, specifically Muslim women, generally speaking, but also her real focus is on healing us from the trauma that many of us, most of us, have gone through. So I went to one of her workshops. She's amazing. She has techniques that will help us uncover some of the hurt that we've gone through over the years, and to even go back into history and tap into some of the hurt that we brought into from our ancestors. So
Yeah, it's very important. In fact, it reminds me of so Oliver. One of the last times I was there, it was had to be the male female, the marriage relationship,
Right.
and actually we got a marriage vis-a-vis the Miriam conference,
Right.
From time we had there. A marriage actually came out of that. And your and Dr. Rhonda's presentation included that concept of the Overton window.
Right.
Overton window that stayed with me from the time. And I couldn't help but think about that Overton window when the Mr. Trump became the president, and he really did move that Overton window. Hit us with just a couple of bars of that so that people can just appreciate the idea. You don't have to elaborate on the whole concept, but it's a very important idea.
Right. It's about our, when couples come together, they really have to know it's not two halves, but it should be two whole people coming in a marriage. Like we say sometimes, well, she's my other half. No, she's your other. She's just another person who is a whole person, and you all come together. So the whole concept of the window pane had to do with seeing yourself. Are you seeing yourself whole? We all have blind spots. So that's the point. That's the side that only there are sides of us that we can't see. We don't have eyes in the back of our heads. So there are people who can see us from angles that we can't see ourselves. So it's important that we be open to be given advice and accept how we accept advice. That's important because other people can see things about you that you can't see yourself, particularly our mates. There's the self that you see that nobody else see. Only God knows. And there's the self that other folks see. And then there's the self that only God knows. God knows, Allah knows things about us that we don't even know about ourselves.
That's right.
So that's the basic meaning of that. Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Very important. So we've talked about a little history there of North Carolina and the things that go there, and then the Northeast connection with the South there. And I guess that does move us over to the whole family piece, because what I think of talking about the extension and the evolution. I met Omar, for example. I met him in Malaysia. We were on that journey.
Right.
That alhamdulillah, Imam Muhammad and his international reach and our connection with Asia, Asia/Malaysia. 1997.
Right.
I met him, and also she's in Philadelphia. You do know your daughter, right?
Right.
Yeah, Rakaya, right? Those sweetest people in the world.
Yeah.
So our children, I mean, outside of any other institutional contributions that they make, but the progress that they are making, that they have made, that really, really speaks to the power of this evolution. Because I know that Salahuddin, I know I'm all up in the family, and Fanda, I want you to bring your piece as we go too. I'll be introduced more to your family as well. Rakaya is married to Idris, who is the Imam of the Philadelphia Masjid. They were originally he's out of the family of the founders of the of the masjid at Freehaven, I understand. But now he's the imam in Philadelphia, Abdul Zahir. That is Idris Abdul Zahir. And then, of course, your son, Salahuddin, the imam, the scholar, the student, the author of America's Imam, who is also married to a first generation, first resurrection offspring, I'll put it that way, out of Kansas City, Sister Letha. Okay. So that's and I know I'm missing your other daughter. I'm sorry. It's like I don't want to be contributing to family stuff.
No problem.
But I know she's there. I recognize her. I acknowledge her. It's just that some people seem to be on a platform a little more. But let me get out of that and just hit me with a little bit about your family and leave a moment for our sister Fonda to bring that, and then we will go further with that.
You know, Imam, thank you for this opportunity. I think Allah every day. I don't see our family being special in any kind of way other than that we love Allah and we love His Messenger. And that's a constant conversation. They are referenced all the time. Imam W.D. Muhammad is our lamp that we read by, that we approach the Quran with everyone. And I can say that all of my children really love Islam as their way of life, as their religion. It's their chosen faith. And I always, and me and my wife, in this society, there's so much pressure put on Muslim youngsters because they're living in two different worlds. And this is why we have this burning desire to really establish a community, because Imam Muhammad Rahimahullah said that our children need structured support. What he was referring to was we need institutions that support family, that support the individual, and that help to develop individuals. And that's been our driving piece. When we lived in Durham, we was parents. We as parents, we were very involved in the masjid. We have families like that today, but we were very focused on programming. We're able to galvanize our young people, our children, with other Muslim children in programs. And I look at all those children that grew up with them, they all are doing well. I mean, some of them have become millionaires. I mean, it's amazing, and I always say that you are an average of the 5 people. I tell my children, you are an average of the 5 people that you associate with. And and that's what we've worked on. We've tried to help them do a good job of choosing their friends. And so that has been a major influence in their life, is who they have associated with.
And that's why we have an obligation. We have an obligation to keep that going. That's what works. That's not like that can't be well, you can try that if you like. No, it's imperative that we do that. Fonda, what that's about your family successes.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So Slaudin and I, we're first generation. We're paving the way. Alhamdulillah, we have paved the way. We continue to pave the way. We have 4 children. We recently lost our son. He returned to Allah this past December 2021. But I have to say that the beauty is, I have a couple of my children on the line, Asila Carter, Asila Gates, for example. We just have so many children. We embrace so many children. I think back, Imam Shuaib, I think back to the beginning when we were in our 30s and Salahuddin was a young imam, and we were doing things like having programs like Imam Oliver mentioned. Just the focus was always on the community and how we can help them to grow. And I'll be honest, and Allah knows best, there were no books we went to. Wallahi, there were no books. We couldn't Google. We couldn't say, I wonder what program we're going to do for the kids. It was from the heart and was on faith. And Asila and so many kids that generation who are in their 40s now, they always refer back to what we as a community in New York gave them, our biological children, the same way. They think about all the programming we did, and they say things like, Mom, Dad, how did you guys do it? And the answer is Allahu Alam. It was faith, because we didn't have anything to really go back on. And not to get, but to get, we didn't, Salahuddin and I didn't necessarily have the best role models in terms of growing up. So I'm telling you, Allah chose us to be there and to push and to just have faith in Him. And alhamdulillah, the community was successful. Our children are continuing on their journey of success. And we just pray that, young people in general can really just taste this. They need to taste this thing called Islam.
Yeah.
And I just want to end this portion of family by saying, we've been raising she's 10 now. We've been raising Salim, the son who passed and returned to Allah. We have been raising Yasmin since she was 3. Yasmin is now 10. And I'm telling you straight up, no chasers. Woo! This generation is so different. Imam, I promise you, Imam Shuaib, I could look at my kid, my first group that I was raising, who are in their 40s or close to their 40s now, I could give them a look. And that's all it took. Yeah. I try to give this is a different generation. The look, all I'm trying to say is the look won't work. But you guess what? When I said to Salahuddin 7 years ago, I said, look, don't think of it as a burden. Think of it as a blessing. Think of it as Allah giving us an opportunity to do things even differently. And that's how I see raising Yasmin, who left the house. I took her to school today, blah, 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 about the dress. She's 10. And I had to okay, it's time for us to, alter some things. But I'll just leave it like that. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. No, I understand. That's life in reality. So we're in our last 2 minutes now. I want to post up the image of the fundraising activity that's coming up and that we're here for this morning, honoring our past and planning today for our future. A project from the As-Salaam Islamic Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. And the project team is, again, to establish a masjid. I believe that's the right language for it. Alhamdulillah. And I feel the urge to just mention no detail, but I have to, because Dr. Salahuddin, we do have that background. He also has a very special personal story. That more and more we're gonna have to do it again at another time when we just get into the continuing issue of the history of our community, because many people, you just don't know who we are and what we have and where we've come from. That same younger generation that where the 60s is ancient history to them. It's not just history, it's ancient history. And we have to make sure that is not lost on them, because they lose a lot of who they are when they're unable to have that. We're going to take a 60-second last word from each one of you, and then we're going to go ahead and sign off.
Okay.
Let me put you. Let's do it all. We'll all be online together. Go ahead, Imam.
Yes. Again, Imam, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to come onto your show, and we thank all of those who tuned in to listen. My only thing I like to end with is to really invite all of the brothers and sisters, the public in general, to become a partner in this good cause. I think there's a verse in the Quran that says, whoever helps a good cause, they become a partner therein. So it's an investment. It's an investment in the future of the life for America. The contribution that As-Salaam Islamic Center wants to make and has a vision to make is going to enhance the life of the citizens of this country, this state, this city, and the world. Our goal is to invite people to come into a process of human growth and development to reach their full potential. But we need a base of operation. We need a place where people can come, where we can have classes, where we can come together as a community, have community meetings and have services and programs that will help us to reach that goal. So we want you to become a partner in this process, and you can become a partner immediately in going to the Eventbrite link and clicking on that link and buy your ticket and buy a whole table, inshallah. So that's what we want to say. And again, Imam, thank you so much for allowing
and
us.
also, alhamdulillah, also Asila, who I know now, she has some skin in this game right here. she outed you. Your mom outed you. There's also a wonderful opportunity for businesses to advertise in the souvenir journal.
Right.
There will be a print copy and e-journal that will be available. So those of you who are listening on Facebook or YouTube, you have the link. You have the Eventbrite link that is there. And also you can check in with the As-Salaam Islamic Center, Raleigh, North Carolina. Just go there and you'll find that. And this will be a way by which you can, if you're unable to be there, you can be there in spirit and in financial support through the souvenir journal and the like. That's a wonderful thing to do. So we have here, this is Asila's other mother. Love the history. So you can't have all that by yourself and say, no, it's the other mother. Right. We oftentimes we say the brother from another mother. So we have to work out one for the women now. See, the brother from another mother, that has poetry in it. So now we're gonna have to sister from another mother. We have to work that out. We got this.
Sister from another mister.
Ah, there you go. See, I never heard that one. See, that's that New York stuff. Y'all don't know about that. Go ahead. So last words from you, my sister.
Yes, alhamdulillah. I just want to camel back on what Imam Oliver said. Buy your ticket now. No playing around. The tickets are going, and not even so much the tickets, it's the seats. We can accommodate 250 people. Please get it now. We failed to mention that you can also buy a $25 ticket, and that means you can go to Zoom. So people out in Oakland, California can still support the program by going on Zoom, and we'll make sure that you're hooked up that way. Please support us. We want to build from the ground up, but equally important, we want to build from the heart out. So let's do it. Let's do it.
Alhamdulillah. So alhamdulillah, we thank you. I want to make sure we mention my dear brother and also the co-chair of the committee, Abdul Wahid Hafiz.
Yes,
alhamdulillah. My brother from the Bronx.
Yes, right.
That's when we first met, and we've had a beloved connection ever since. That's really it's rare and it's a blessing, right?
Yes,
alhamdulillah.
Yes.
And he continues to work, continues to make a contribution. He's formerly in Durham, right? Yes, exactly. So when I think about Durham, Raleigh, Durham, and the way you described it, Imam Oliver, I think about Mecca and Medina.
That's
Mecca
right.
and Medina. It sounds like Durham was more like Medina.
Yeah.
And Raleigh was more like Mecca.
Yes, right.
Inshallah.
Exactly.
So inshallah, maybe in some way we'll make Raleigh a Mecca of North Carolina. Inshallah. So alhamdulillah, thank you so much, and we appreciate it. May Allah continue to bless us and guide us to the best, and may Allah bless your effort with great success. As-Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. We are.